Hello and welcome to this week's Comics from the Future. I'm Jason,
I'm Andy.
and we're with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. So this show is all about showing you the latest comics and covers available to order for this week. It's a little bit of a light week, which is good for here and there,
Yeah.
because this week, as far as if you went in your store, it was a wallet busting heavy week.
Yep.
But as far as ordering new books, light week, pretty easy.
Lighter. There's still I feel like it's taken a few years for the companies to get this down, but when there's light weeks now, they do put some key books in those
Yeah, to make it
to have something to be
or
excited about.
stop by your
Yep.
store or whatever. Okay, so let's begin with our featured comics, starting with Sins of Sinister. This is going to be the new big sort of X-Men event book.
Mhm.
It is starting out with this one shot just called Sins of Sinister. But then it's going to be across three different books that are three-issue miniseries. The first one is called Storm and Brotherhood of Mutants. Then there'll be Nightcrawlers, and then lastly, Immortal X-Men.
Okay.
So just each of those will be three issues, and then it ends with a one shot called Sins of Sinister Dominion. So a total of 11 books. This isn't going to be where you have to like be buying books that are in other series.
Yeah.
It is sort of a self-contained event. Now, what is it about? I'll tell you what I know. So obviously, at the center of it, Mr. Sinister. He is always doing his evil machinations. If you've been reading any of the X titles since the Krakoan stuff's been going on, he has been doing all kinds of mess up things. There's been hints as to what he's up to,
Mhm.
but it's never really like come together. And Kieran Gillen, who is one of the heads of this, said that this plan has been since the Hickman
Mhm.
run sort of began, and they were just waiting to kind of get to Sinister stuff, and it's built up that it gets its own event now. So this is going to take place across three time periods. It's going to be 10 years in the future, 100 years in the future, and 1,000 years in the future. Now, what Sinister is up to is your guess is as good as mine because the solicitations are not saying. I've looked into interviews, I've read things. It doesn't really give a hint.
Mhm.
You'd have to be kind of reading the books, and I have definitely read a lot of them.
Mhm.
And I mean, I have several ideas, but as to which one, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. He's kind of been doing a two-faced thing. He was on the Quiet Council,
Right.
and then he secretly had his own like cave he was doing his experiments in, and
He's been collecting everybody's
yeah.
genes and just all kinds of stuff.
And now they're running around without pants on because he stole all their jeans.
So while I can't tell you what exactly the plot of it is, I can at least tell you that it's this one shot, then three issue miniseries, and then a one shot at the end. So that's what I know so far about Sins of Sinister. This is the regular cover. We have this incredible Artgerm variant
Yeah,
with
that's
Emma Frost just uh, straight killing.
I
And then we have the CASSARA variant.
believe that one's an homage, but I can't remember what that's an homage to.
And then after that, we have the Villa Stormbreakers variant.
Yeah, the X-Men seem to be getting they have event after event, and with every one of them, it's like, is this going to be the breaking point? It's like, no. So
I think this event's going to be interesting in that it's going to deal with the future timelines.
yeah,
So I think it's going to kind of leave the books to do their own thing. So they
yeah.
do get a breath, like the X-Men, get a breath, but their future selves, they're dealing with Sinister in every which way.
Next up is the first, I believe it's one of our first one shots that are coming out of Lazarus Planet. So I actually uh, sat down and read all of the first issue of Lazarus Planet, the like alpha issue yesterday, and so I've got a pretty good idea now what this is about. The solicitation is a little vague, uh, but I'll try and explain without spoiling anything what I think this is going to be about. So this one is Lazarus Planet Assault on Krypton. Now, uh, it's not a spoiler to say there is a volcano that has erupted with Lazarus resin. That's what's been like blanketing the Earth after the events of that have yet to come that are going to be in the final issue of Batman versus Robin. Now, that is where all these one-shots are gonna take place, is, in the one-shot that kicks all this off, uh, you'll see how each of these one-shots are gonna be a mission that certain characters have to go on and have to deal with a certain problem to try to solve this, reign of this Lazarus resin that has been affecting people, changing their powers if they already have powers, giving new people powers. This one is focusing on the Superman related family because they're not all actually Kryptonians. So we're going to get a few stories in this one. We are going to get a story about Dreamer, who, of course, she sees like glimpses of the future, and she may have seen a way to stop this. We are going to get a story about Power Girl, who is dealing with her own stuff because those that have Kryptonian DNA, this Lazarus resin has affected even more than anyone else. It has thrown their powers haywire. You'll have to read to find out what that means and what it causes in them. But you can see on this cover, the big story in this is going to be Jonathan Kent. That's him in the center, where his powers definitely have a big transformation into something new, very reminiscent of the red and blue Superman with him with the blue suit. But we're also getting a story about Mercy Graves, who is Lex Luthor's like right hand in his business. When he's not there, she runs the show. Something big is going to be happening with her. So all of this is going to be written by multiple different writers and artists, including Nicole Maines, who is the actor that portrays Dreamer, as well as Frank Barbary, a lot of people. So I think this is going to be really cool. I think sign up for it now because after reading Lazarus Planet, the kickoff issue, I can't remember if it's Alpha or what it's called. Uh, I was fully invested in this. But we have to order this before you get to read that. So take my recommendation. I really enjoyed Lazarus Planet. I'm excited for where it's going. And I think all of these one shots are going to be really fun and important to the overall story and the future of DC. So, this is our A cover for that. We have our Dreamer Jen Bartel variant.
Having a dream right
Yeah,
there.
just dreaming away. We have the SZERDY with Mercy Graves on there. And we have the Power Girl variant by FOCCILLO.
That's interesting. She almost looks like she's turning like radioactive
Yeah,
kryptonite power girl.
yeah. That's going to be great. I'm excited.
I'd say that cover is probably a spoiler.
Maybe.
Well, we'll see. Okay, so next up is a new indie series from IDW called Breath of Shadows. So this is interesting. You know, indie comics get to do just sort of whatever they want. Marvel and DC, they can technically do what they want. But they like to keep super in everything.
Yeah.
And so when you go to indie, you're like, well, tell me a different sort of story. So listen to this. This is set in the 1960s, and it follows a musician who the only thing he loves better than playing music is his drug addiction.
Sounds like
Well,
60s musicians.
yeah, it gets to be too much for him, and so he goes looking to try to kick his habit once and for all, and he hears about a mystical process in the jungles of South America. So I guess AA is just not enough for this person, or NA. And so he goes down to South America to try to do this process to kick his addictions once and for all. And of course, things don't go well, and maybe he unleashes some terrible, unholy terrors. I mean, look at the cover there.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is the premise. I mean, it's one of these books that's going to hook you if you sort of like that time period.
Mhm.
I like the 60s a lot. I like a lot of 60s music style. So right away, the atmosphere of the period I'm interested
Mhm.
in. You know, you can't just get on your cell phone and call Ghostbusters. You're gonna have to deal with things a little more, a little easier to fall off the grid back then. I also like books that involve other cultures, and
Mhm.
so I'm hoping that they do the whole South American thing
Yeah.
well and get into sort of some of their mythology. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm saying my hopes for a book like this. So that is the premise of Breath of Shadows, and here we have the regular cover, and this is the Barons variant.
So it doesn't look like it goes too well.
No, no, and you know in these things you always have this theme where the character has to stare themselves
Yep.
in the mirror. The question is, does it speak back to you? And if it does, is it nice or is it evil?
Okay, next up is a big one. I never thought I'd be saying that about Darkwing Duck, but given how all this has been working, especially with Gargoyles this week, Dynamite has been now taking on some of the animated properties from Disney, and that is continuing with Darkwing Duck #1, an ongoing Darkwing Duck comic. And I feel like the incredible success of Gargoyles this week has like uh, prepped me for this because it's
Dynamite staggered this just right.
yes. Yeah, it just right when you get your taste of gargoyles, here's this. So, of course, Darkwing Duck is an animated show from Disney that started in 1991. Can't believe it's that old. It feels like, it's like, like maybe late 90s or something. But and I didn't realize it actually only ran from 1991 to 1992. It had a lasting impact. There was
Dang.
91 episodes within that year, which like that's incredible that there was that. But so the solicitation for this doesn't say a whole lot. It's more of like you know him. He's the what's his thing? The terror that flaps at
Yeah.
night. Uh you're gonna have all of your favorite characters, Launchpad McQuack. You're going to have his daughter Goslin, all of that. It's basically just says like, how is he going to balance his life as Drake Mallard, being a father, with his persona as Darkwing Duck? Just kind of the stuff that you got in the show, but it looks like they're continuing that into the comics. I'm not sure if we're going to get like big overarching stories like comics tend to do, or if these are going to be like one and done stories like episodes. There's a little less known about this than like the Gargoyles book. But I think this is very exciting. If you see any of the interior images, it looks just like the show. So I think this is going to be great, and I think a lot of people have fond feelings of this and are going to be on board.
Yeah, Gargoyles was more made for ongoing plot or
Yeah,
plots that could last 5, 6 issues. I have a feeling Darkwing Duck is going to be more episodic if it's
yeah.
true to the show. Let's get dangerous, people.
I just love it because I think that we don't have too many. I know DC has Looney Tunes. We have a few of those animated
Scooby
ones,
Doo.
Scooby Doo. But from the Disney front, we haven't got too many mainstream comics that are based on. It's been a while since we've had like a Scrooge McDuck or something like that. So I think this is really cool for those cartoon fans.
I
So
think the editors over at Marvel are banging their heads on the wall, going, "Why in the world did we not put this out? Why did we just license it to
yeah,
Dynamite like Gargoyles?"
we could have had Spider
Ugh.
Man and Darkwing Duck
It
team.
just shows how big Disney is. That you have their Marvel leg. They probably wanted to, but they couldn't even get the ear of whoever
Yeah.
had the rights for it in the other part of Disney.
So there's a lot of covers for this, just like with Gargoyles, and they're all fantastic. So this is our A cover by David Nakayama. I love seeing these artists that have like such a like realistic or like distinct style. Their take on something that's so formulaic. Like if you do Darkwing Duck, he has to be the same in every episode. So how do they interpret that? So this is our A cover.
I noticed he's standing on a gargoyle.
Oh
Just
yeah.
saying.
Are we gonna get a crossover? Is this our first crossover? Who knows? This is a America Andolfo cover, which is
This
crazy
is
cool.
like anything
It's
we've seen
almost
America and Dolpho
like
do.
America Andolfo doing Batman's cape,
Hmm.
a McFarlane Batman's cape, where it's just like so much. Then we have a LEIRIX variant. We have our Forster variant, which that is very animated.
We got there's a launch pad.
Yep. We have the Edgar variant or Edgar variant, and then finally we have a blank variant as well.
Okay, so those were our featured number ones, but there are always so many others. So we created this section, other number ones, although sometimes we put books in there that might not be number ones. They were just so important, we got to get them towards the top
Oh,
of
I
our
see you
show.
noticed what I put in
I
here.
did, I did. You produced the show. If I produced it, I might have featured this one, honestly.
I know it was hard to pick.
But Nightwing 100, that's right. This phenomenal series is reaching its milestone 100th issue. This is going to be a double size issue, so it's going to cost $6.99. It's going to have a bunch of various artists in it. They don't list them though. They just say we're going to get artists from across the decades that have built Nightwing up to be in this book. So, I mean, we're all going to be surprised when it arrives. We'll do our Monday review and
Yeah.
probably talk about which ones they got in there. So just a big double size issue for Nightwing's 100th. Of course, there's a lot of variants to this. I'll show in a minute. This will continue the story, though. You know, as much as I think it's going to probably be anthology style
Yeah.
and show you, oh, here's Nightwing back from then and back from now, and maybe even like I don't know, a future cyborg one or something. There is a little bit that it's going to go into Heartless and him setting up his base in Bloodhaven because he's decided to try to take over um, from Blockbuster.
Mm.
Now that Blockbuster is out of the picture, of course, so is Dick Grayson. He also decided he's going to try to take over. I don't know how that's going to work, if he's going to make like a fake criminal persona or what.
He needs his own matches, Malone.
I kind of agree. And, you know, the writing on this series is so good. I kind of think that's what they might do. I can't wait to see. So, this is the regular cover by Redondo, our, you know, awesome interior artist. Here is Jamal Campbell gets to do a variant, of course. This is the wraparound Jamal Campbell variant. Jim Lee is doing one. So all you people who order all the Jim Lee covers, we have them at our store too.
Yep.
Get ready to ask your store for this one. Here is the Jimenez cardstock cover. So much has happened with their relationship in this book.
Yeah.
It hasn't shied away. You know, a lot of times their relationship gets put on the back burner,
Yeah.
and it's been really at the forefront of this series for a long time now. Here is the Javier Fernandez variant. Here is the Travis Moore variant.
I like it showing kind of all aspects. It's his relationship with Barbara.
Yeah,
It's him, remember the Teen
Teen
Titans.
Titans. That's true. And then here is the George Perez artboard design variant
I think this is awesome. I would love to see this for all the books to have design variants, but like from back when they were originally designed.
from their creator.
Yeah, I think that's really, really cool.
Yep. So, and
I think a lot of people would get
I
that one.
like his original outfit. I admit it definitely, especially with like the little shoulder tassels.
It's a little disco.
Yeah, but I like it.
Next up, we have our next installment of the Murder World story from Marvel. This is Murder World Wolverine #1. And so, what we learned from the Murder World Avengers is what you see on the cover is not necessarily not what you get, but this isn't the Wolverine you know because Arcade has set up this kind of gauntlet for these almost like a Squid Game version of things where these contestants are trying to survive through this. And in the Avengers one, he had like robotic killer versions of the Avengers. And this seems like he's got robotic killer versions of the Wolverine family because you even see
I
like
see
the
that.
feral Wolverine on there.
Yeah.
Just all the iterations.
Knock in 23.
It's like Arcade has his Marvel Encyclopedia, and he's like, let's look up all the Wolverines. I got to make robots of all of them.
I mean, that's a great premise.
It is really good, and it's so scary. Imagine, like, you're not gonna survive when there's like 8 Wolverines hunting you.
I'm hoping maybe one or two is like on their side. You
Yeah,
know, that would make it a little more fair.
that would. So I'm still very excited about this. It says every issue in this, these one shots that make up this whole story is kind of upping the ante, and it's going to have a pretty explosive and shocking uh, finale that you're going to kind of see sprinkled along the way. So this is our A cover for that, and then we have our Lopez variant.
All right, Dune fans, which there are more of than ever since
Yep.
the movie. There were already plenty, but I think it got passed on to another generation
Yep.
thanks to that awesome film. Another comic series is coming out. This is going to be a maxi series, 12 issues. It is Dune House of Harkonnen. So this is actually a comic adaptation. This is the first time this adaptation's been done of the New York Times best-selling book, which is the second prequel before the Dune books. So it was written afterwards,
Hmm.
obviously. Um, but yeah, this book was a New York Times bestseller, and now they're bringing it to comics for the first time ever in for a 12 issue series. So that is what Dune House Harkonnen is about. So here's our main cover by Swanland, and then here is the B cover by Murakami.
Next up, we have one of Aftershock does these like magazine-sized one-shots. This one is written by Ray Fox. It's called All Night and Every Day, and the cover makes you think one thing, but the description of it is actually very interesting. So this is going to follow this girl named Michaela. It says she is kind of grief-stricken. It doesn't say why, but the last thing she wants to do is party. But her friends are gonna try to cheer her up, and they're gonna take her out a night on the town. But that goes horribly wrong when they end up at a never-ending party, a kind of a horrific forever party where you can't. I guess you can't stop dancing or whatever. But it says even if you die, it doesn't stop. So it's gonna be one of those like people are passing out and then that's not an escape either. It sounds really interesting. This is going to be 48 pages. And I think Aftershock does these like one shots really well. There's been some really good ones, and there's only one cover for that. So that is all night and every day. That's how much you're going to party.
And this is another one that if you're interested in, ask your store about it because I'll tell you, the ones that are magazine sized are harder to store. Okay, because they don't
Mm.
fit in the nice little comic boxes with all the comics. So stores tend to order less of them. In fact, some stores don't even order them unless they have
Yeah.
pre-orders. So this is one if you're interested in, get down your pre-order for it. Okay, so next up is another one shot. It is called Scotch McTiernan Holiday Party. So this is the third in a series of these sort of holiday one shots that have been done by the team of Jerry Dugan and Scott Koblish,
Mhm.
who used to work on Deadpool together, and they bring a lot of that same crazy humor and violence to these one shots. Well, their first one shot wasn't a holiday one per se. I guess maybe it
I
was.
think it's a 420
It was
special.
420 special. So for those of you who
Who
that's your
partake?
holiday, the next one was a Halloween special, and this one is just called Holiday Party. So if you like Jerry Dugan stuff, I do. He's really good at writing funny stuff. Koblish is awesome with all his details.
Hmm.
The two of them as a team is just going to be madness. So the premise is that the main Scrooges of the world, meaning I guess the people who have a lot of money, a lot of power, don't want to share, they get visited by the Ghost of Christmas Future when they are attempting to colonize Mars. So
Took a weird turn in the
yeah,
last
yeah, they're
sentence.
they're gonna colonize Mars, and it's time for the ghost to visit and go, hey, if y'all keep being Scrooges, here's how this is all gonna go. So that is the premise for Scotch McTiernan Holiday Party One Shot. This is another book. I bet it will not be ordered much past pre-order.
No.
So if you like the other two or this one just catches your fancy, definitely put in that pre-order. All right, so now we're going to get to cool covers and other comics. These are some of the best variants that are up for order, and issue number twos and threes of ongoing series that maybe you read the first one just this week. You haven't, you've been deciding you want to sign up for it or not. Maybe this will remind you.
Beginning with Gargoyles number 2. I do like that, this seems like, at least for right now, it's on a pretty consistent schedule. Issue comes out and they're solicit for the next issue.
Yes.
That's how you keep readers. So, issue number 2, very excited about it because we have the return of Dominic Draken, and Thalog is trying to steal this new unborn egg. So cars out there of this onboard egg that's related to the gargoyles that everyone's trying to get, and so really cool. I like the first issue a lot, and I'm excited to kind of get in deeper to the story that was set up towards the end of the first issue. This is our David Nakayama A cover. We have our Amanda Connor variant, which I mean, still
Once again,
just
looks
like
just like the
she is
show.
spot on to the characters.
Yeah,
We have the Perio variant. And what you can see from this is like Perio is doing all of the whole team is spotlighted on his cover.
I
So
see.
it's cool like if you can get all of the Perio ones, or, you know, the consistent artists.
His dark version
I
of
know
them.
this is pretty horrifying. Then we have our LEIRIX. We have our J Lee variant, which is very cool. We have our Fleeks, of course, because there's a puppy on there.
That it melts even Demona's heart.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the Ken Lashley variant for Batman Fortress number 8. This is the final issue of this 8-issue series. You get to see the final battle for Earth against the aliens who have that weird connection with Superman. So again, this is the Lashley variant for Batman Fortress number 8.
Feels like it's been a while since the last issue of that.
It may have had some delays here and there.
Yeah. Okay, and then next up we have Batman Superman World's Finest number 11 These are our John Boy Myers variants. These first two you'll see, but this is wrapping up our Boy Thunder story arc. This list that talks about you'll finally learn who Boy Thunder really is. You kind of found that out at the last issue, but I think it's going to be like explored a little bit more in this one. But I'm not going to spoil it here. Right. Uh, Comic readers of DC stuff who've been reading a long time will definitely recognize him. But these are our variants. So this is the Power Girl, John Boy Myers variant, and then we have the Huntress. These are connecting covers. And then the next variant is very interesting. This is done by Jack White of the White Stripes, musician Jack White.
I saw the name and I was wondering.
Yeah.
It was yours to research. I was waiting to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really tell what's going on. Are these his takes on what like a Batman and a Superman would look like? I mean, very artsy, very cool.
Looks a little mixed media as
Very
well.
mixed media,
A collage in there.
but very cool. So if you're a fan of Jack White or just like really artsy covers, I think this one is really cool.
See, one of my favorite things when people outside of comics suddenly are in comics is I learn, oh, they're a comic fan.
Yeah,
You know, you got to love comics to be doing covers like
yeah.
that. All right, so next up, this is the Nakayama. This is Nakayama week.
I apparently he's got a cover for everything.
So this is the A cover to Catwoman number 51 by David Nakayama. This is a really funny, playful cover. You know, Catwoman, she's been detained. Okay. She's in jail. And it's funny, she just has a key in her mouth, like I can leave anytime I
Uh-huh.
want. And that really is how she acts in these issues. But anyway, so while she is locked up, it's gonna be up to Eiko Hasegawa is gonna take over as Catwoman
Yeah, it's
on the
even a
streets.
whole new suit and everything.
Yeah, so that's the big deal to this. So, yep, Eiko is going to be the new Catwoman for at least a little while in the series, but don't worry, Selena, I'm sure will be up to some things as well. Here is our Sway variant,
Those are candy
and
necklaces. Munching on.
and then here's the Sweeney Boo variant for Catwoman number 51.
Yeah, we don't show the incentives here, but the I think it's like the 1 in 10 incentive for this is that new Catwoman suit. It's the design variant with that new Catwoman suit, which is very cool. It does have a different vibe to it than hers.
Mm.
Okay, next up we have the Flash number 791, and this is part 2 of the 1 Minute War. So some pretty cool variants for this. This is the Bayless variant.
See, I kind of like this because Flash is in a running position. You know, he's
Uh-huh.
like, I'm ready to go, but he's so fast, it's like he's gone before you can even see him move.
If you look too, it's like he's looking at himself about to start running. Like that's how
I
fast
see
he
that.
is.
Yeah, that's neat little detail.
And then we have the Marco Delfonso variant as well.
Okay, so check out this Dan Hip variant for Harley Quinn the animated series Legion of Bats number 4.
It's like the
This
Olin Mills with the Bat
the
family.
awkward family picture. They're all wearing the sweaters, and then you have Harley in the back, and she's got braces. Oh,
All
that's
their
just really
sweaters on the sleeve say, no, 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 no. It's pretty funny.
that makes me laugh. So yes, this is the Dan Hip variant for Harley Quinn animated series Legion of Bats number 4. In this issue, apparently an old flame of poison ivy is going to show up, and you know that's not going to be good. I don't want to be an old flame of poison ivy with Harley around.
Next up, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 18. So this is a part of our Dark Web story. Peter Parker is in limbo. What I think is really cool about this, I always like when they do interpretations of characters. He's going to be going up against a demonized version of his rogues gallery. So I always like to see like how do they interpret those into like monstrous forms. It almost looks like he's fighting like a scary version of
That's
Scorpion.
definitely Scorpion right there.
So I'm excited to see is Doctor Octopus going to be like a big old octopus with like glasses or something? I don't know, but
I have a question. So the left side, there's that bar. Is
yeah,
that just a
I
mistake on the picture end?
I think they used to do this with older series a bit more, where you could tell books that were in a series or in an event by
Right.
either a bar at the top or a bar by the side. I think Spider-Man actually had a few that did the spine bar.
Hmm.
So I think this may be the dark web way you
Marking of
marking
it.
that you can tell it's part of that event.
Okay.
We also have it's funny, we just got this variant by a different artist
Yeah.
this week, but this is the Ryan Stegman homage variant.
All right, here's the main cover to Thor number 30. Now, of course, we have our new team doing the new arc right now, where Thor and Runa are going after Corvus Glaive, and trying to look into Thanos' past because they've learned about this Black Infinity Stone. But the whole reason they're doing it is they are trying to stop the vision Thor had, that Black Winter gave
Mm.
him, of Thanos returned with the Infinity Hammer, just destroying the world. So a lot at stake here. Last issue I thought was really, really good. So here's the main cover to that. Here is the Wernick Stormbreaker variant. And then we have the Wolf Extreme variant.
I think the next one's the extreme. I think this was the that was the Dodderman and then the
Oh,
Wormwing.
wow, yeah, I totally. Okay,
And they're also very
let's go
similar.
through again. Okay, so
That's the
this
A.
is the A cover. This is the Dodderman. I'm used to seeing many, many
I know.
versions of the character. This is a Dodderman. Here is the Wernick. And then here is the
You'll know the
Wolf.
extreme when
Yeah,
you get to the Wolf
the Wolf
extreme.
Extreme one. My lord. Just get on with that face.
That face and the hammer that just has extra spikes sticking out of
Yeah.
it and crazy. Okay, next up we've got a few Star Wars books. So we have Star Wars High Republic, The Blade #2. We're still waiting on #1 to come out, but this focuses on Porter Engle, who we met in the I don't want to say the current High Republic timeline because it's still in the past, but the previous before he did the jump back, he was just like a kindly chef for the Jedi, and now we go back to see he was the most formidable swordsman the Jedi ever had, and we're going to explore an adventure with him. So if you are interested in it, the #1 is not out yet, but you can sign up for it. This is our A cover. Then we have our Lopez variant. Then we have our issue 3 of Star Wars Yoda. A lot of people really enjoyed issue 1. So this is the A cover for #3.
That's right. If you didn't know any better, if you'd never heard of any Star Wars and you saw this, you'd be like, man, that little dude's in trouble. But I look at it and I feel the exact
Yeah.
opposite. Like they're in trouble.
Then we have the Pascal Ferry variant. Then we have Dr. Aphra #28. This is the Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary variant. Very cool. And as it says, not final art, but this is Star Wars High Republic Adventures #2 of 8. This is from the Dark Horse Adventures line. And of course, this one's only an 8-issue miniseries instead of an ongoing. But issue 1 was really fun. We have our main character, Salve Maligan, who is a Jedi that she kind of she wants a little bit more adventure out of life, so she's teaming up with some pirates, and she's got to decide, is she more of a Jedi or a pirate?
Okay, so this is the main cover to Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise #3 with story and incredible and trippy art by Trad Moore. So that issue #1, if you've picked it up, you'll know if it's for you or not right away. Story very interesting, but the art, that is
Yeah.
the real show on this. So this is the main cover issue 3. Here is the Anka variant, and then we have the Ganouche variant.
Very, very trippy. Okay, next up we have All Out Avengers #5. This is the Davis Stormbreaker variant. Also, what's cool about this is I feel like Jason Aaron's having a blast with this because they say this is the ultimate battle that Marvel fans have been waiting for. This is going to have Spider-Man versus the Avengers, and somebody's universe is going to get changed forever. So we're reaching the end of all of his Avengers run. So when he says it's an ultimate battle, I believe it. He writes ultimate battles.
He definitely has built up enough characters over the era from 1 million BC up into
Yeah.
like the future with Avenger Prime.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up, we're going to show our Spawn variants this week. And if you've been watching our show for the last month, you know there's always a lot of those. This is the least amount of them.
Yeah.
Only 4, and only 2 are outside of his own series. So the first one, this is the variant, the Spawn variant to Nita Hawk's Nightmare blog #11. And then this one, here's the unnatural blue blood Spawn variant for issue number 5. Well, like he's like being protective of her or something. He's got like
Protective, or yeah, I don't know,
the
but they're an interesting couple.
and that's a beefy Spawn arm. Very spiky too.
Okay, then we actually have Spawn in his own title. So this is our A cover for Spawn, and then we have the Tolindano variant.
I had somebody come in and they sold me a comic collection the other day from the 70s through the 90s.
Mhm.
They had quit collecting sort of mid 90s. And he brought up Spawn, and it was one of the last characters he liked. And I said, "Do you know that comic's still going?" And he was just shocked. And I
Yeah,
told him about it being in the Guinness Book of World
yeah,
Records. And, it was just really cool to let people know just how prolific
yeah.
this
You
still
can step out
is.
of comics and step back in, and Spawn's still there waiting for you.
Yep. Okay, so here is the main cover to Frank Frazetta's Dawn Attack number 2. This is a 5-issue miniseries. I think it's really interesting because the whole series is based off of Frazetta's just epic painting named Dawn Attack.
Hmm.
And so they took this awesome painting, everybody has enjoyed all these years, and they said, let's write the story of this.
Yeah,
So this is the main cover for issue number 2, and then here is the Frazetta variant for issue number 2.
I love it too because the variants, you just get a new chance to get some Frazetta art.
That's a good point.
Next up is Know Your Station number 2. Just reviewed Know Your Station number 1 on our last early review show. Very interesting book. Very, it's not action packed. It's very thought provoking and everything with this character, Elise, who is security on a space station for the richest and most influential scientists and all that the Earth had to offer, and now there has been murders popping up in this seemingly ideal space station, and it may have something to do with her. So if you enjoyed the number 1, definitely uh, tell your story you want number 2 or to be on the series, because this is another one they will start decreasing their orders. Always order kind of heavy on number 1s for people to try it out. So let them know that you want to be on that
Yep. You,
series.
you vote with your order.
Yes.
That is very true.
And then we have the variant. This is the Harry variant.
What the heck is going on here?
Oh, there's a bathtub of oozing money in space.
Okay, here is the Richardson variant. Obviously, making it look like a D&D book. I mean,
Uh-huh.
even in the lower left corner, you have that like red thing that D&D
Yeah.
does where it says that it's whatnot. So this is a Richardson variant for Alpha Beta's issue number 4. So this is the last issue of the 4-issue miniseries. I believe this was the first comic that Whatnot put
Yeah.
out in the different series that they did. So again, pretty cool Richardson variant for issue number 4.
We have some cool covers for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 104. Of course, this is Mistress Vile, who is actually Rita Repulsa, but you have to read it to get the full story. But we are going to learn more about her past, her hidden past. And we've got some great covers for this. So this is the A. Clark variant, or I guess it's not a variant, it's the A cover. And then we have the Kaplan variant.
Rita, she changed her colors and all, but she kept the hair.
Yeah,
That's just sort of her
her
thing.
signature.
Yeah. All right. So, I had another. Or no, actually, I'm sorry. Now we're getting to our final segment, other printings and graphic novels, starting with Birds of Prey, The End of the Beginning, which is just the right title for this because this is a graphic novel that collects issues 113 to 127 of their 1999 series. I don't know if this has ever been collected
I
before.
don't I don't think it has been.
I don't either because this is very far into
Uh-huh.
that run, which went to issue 127. So this is just the last few arcs of that Birds of Prey series. It is going to be. Oh, I didn't write down a price. So that part will just have to shock you, surprise you. But I'm glad they do this. We have people who come in that are fans of all different kinds
Yeah.
of books, and those last few issues can be so hard to find and so expensive. It's great when they finally collect them. So this collects issues 113 through 127 final arcs of the 1999 series.
Then we have one. I just forgot to put the screen that says graphic novels. It's okay. We got it. Next up is one that is by our good friend Richard Starkings. This is Ask for Mercy, Volume One. This was originally a Comixology original series by Richard Starkings and Abigail Jill Harding. And if you don't know anything about it, this cover art actually represents a lot of the interior art.
Yeah.
So this is about Mercy. She is a real estate agent that gets pulled into a crazy magical world of monster hunters who are monsters in of themselves. And these aren't like Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman monsters. These are very almost Lovecraftian type monsters as they need her help to fight against Nazis in the 1942. So, if that sounds interesting to you, it is a very interesting book. I've got to see this book throughout its creation. It's really cool, and this is being printed by Dark Horse now. So this first volume collects actually volume 1 and 2 of the series, and it will be 29.99.
Yeah, a lot of beautiful style against scary monsters,
Yeah.
which the cover totally
Yes.
represents. All right, so they're doing a collected edition for AXE Judgment Day. So this, of course, was the big X-Men, Eternals, Avengers crossover that just ended. So there's two different ones of these. They're both 34.99. This one collects the main story. It's all 240 pages of the main story. And then this one is the companion, and it collects all the one shots and
Yeah.
surrounding stories. This one is 216 pages. So if you're wanting to read it all together, here's your chance to order that. Each one is just 34.99.
And finally, we have a new facsimile for Incredible Hulk 347. And I'm always interested, especially if it's not a cover I exactly know. But this is our first Joe Fixit
Yeah.
Hulk issue. So that's a character they've been using more and more recently, which is interesting. You always kind of wonder, do they have a reason for doing that? Speculate responsibly. But so if you like getting all the facsimiles, I think this is a cool one to add to the list. That is Incredible Hulk 347.
All right, that is our show for this week. So you have until Sunday to place your orders for these books.
Mhm.
Placing your order guarantees that you will get it. So thank you for watching. We will be back on Monday with our early review show where we review comics a day or two before they are released. So please tune in then. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss any of our shows.
Yep, like it, subscribe it, ring the bell to get notifications when we post new videos, do all the things that they allow you to press under the video.
Yep, we will see you all next time.